Hey, this is Professor Homa. Welcome to part 4 of our Angus stationery. This will be the business card, and I just finished my envelope, my number 10 envelope, and the logo and the text is going to be pretty similar to what I'm going to use on the business card. So I'm going to cheat here. I'm going to highlight this and copy it, and I also copied the box here, so I'm going to shift click on that. I don't want that, I just want this, and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go File, New document, and a business card. We're going to do a landscape business card to start. Your layout may work better for a vertical business card, but I'm going to start with a landscape one, and the width is going to be 3.5 standard business card size by 2, 3.5 by 2. And then also, as far as margins, a standard margin on a business card is actually 0.1875, 3/16 of an inch. I don't need facing pages, and that should be all that I need. It even says US business card right here. It defaulted to that. So 3.5 by 2, 3/16 of an inch margin. That should be all I need. I'm going to hit OK. And before I paste, I'm just going to drag a guide over to about 2 inches. And this is a method from that John McWade Before and After magazine. He's on lynda.com now, and I think I have this video which I'll show you as well. But he shows this neat method, and sometimes if I had a vertical kind of logo like my Angus logo that I was just working on, like this kind of logo, it's not really wide or anything. A lot of logos could be very horizontal, but this is almost kind of more square shaped or even taller. Sometimes people will put them on a vertical card, but I'm not crazy about vertical cards because you have to turn them sideways to read them. But this method that he has, what he does is he breaks the card into a square. This shape here is actually a square 2 inches over, and I'm gonna paste what I have. And what he recommends is putting the logo, I'll move this over here, putting the logo to kind of be featured in this 2-inch square, and then actually taking the text that I have right now, and I'll just make that left justified, and putting the text up against the line, so that you almost have this layout like this where you can have the logo, and I should put this in high resolution so it looks better, so that you can put the logo over here and the text along the side. That way you don't have to stack things, you could put them kind of side by side. So I'm going to try that method, and I'm going to enlarge my logo a little bit. I'll use the method where I click not on the circle but on the kind of outside here, and I'll hold Shift Option Command, or on Windows that would be Shift Alt Control if that works, and just make it a little bit bigger. Fill up this area nicely. Doesn't have to be huge. I don't want it going to the edges, but I'll have it fill up this area nicely. Now this 2 inches that we're using, we may alter that a little bit because, you know, depending on how long our text is, we may need to tweak that a little, but this is a good starting point. So, you know, the logo that size is nice. It's a little on the bigger side, but that's okay. You know, if we're showing off our logo and we don't have a lot of information. So over on this side, we're going to have our info. Now, we have our address, and we have that. We might also, you know, you could break this up in 2 separate text boxes, or you could stretch this out. And I'm going to add, and you can see it adheres to the top right now, which you could use these things to change the alignment, you know, bottom if you want. But before I do that, I'm going to put in my name here, and I'll just put my name, and you can see it's not fitting, and I could put space after this. I'm even going to just hit an extra return right now. Now also, I have address information, I have the website, I might also have email address, phone numbers. I don't have any of that right now. Remember, you can use dashes, you can use dots. Some people use dots for phone numbers. I like dashes because it's kind of the 10 number phone number. You could use, people may still use parentheses. One thing with a parentheses that you want to do is, or you don't want to do, is if you use parentheses, you don't want a dash in there, but you want a space. So make sure if you're going to use parentheses, you put a space. But since area codes, you know, with people have all cell phones and things now, I usually kind of take that out and just put a dash and make them all kind of, you know, your 6 and 4 kind of together. So, you know, maybe this is the office number. Maybe there's a cell number that I'll put on here. You know, most people will put a number that they could be accessed by cell, so I'll just put another number on here. You can see it probably won't fit a little. And what I'll do, this is where I said you could maybe cheat a little. I'll cheat just to get it to fit in there. You know, it works okay with 4 letters in my last name. If like I said, if I had a longer name, so I'll cheat that over just a little bit, and I can move this line that I'm aligning it, and then I can move my logo over just a little bit. Now I'm not sure what order I'd want to have with this. I'm just actually going to stack this thing on both margins. And I might do something, I think the text I had in there was like 7.5, and for a sans serif font, that's okay. You know, I don't, because we have these addresses here, 7.5 is okay. And you might want to print it out and check it out to see what it looks like, because on screen it might look fine, but then when you print it out, it might look too small. So this is something you want to be careful with. You don't want anything that's like too hard to read. Now, I'm not sure where I would put some of this stuff. I might actually put the address last. You know, this is kind of decision time here, so, and I didn't really, I'm going to just cut that, and maybe I'll put the address at the bottom. Maybe I'll divide these in two separate things. I'll put the contact numbers here, and I'll put the, you know, the email at the bottom, or maybe I'd actually put the, I'd cut this out of here, and maybe I'd just put the email address or the website at the bottom. You know, going more personal through more general. You know, that way you could contact me by my email, or even if you wanted, you know, if this was the first place you wanted to be contacted by, a lot of people do, they want just email me. They'd rather just email than be calling them. You could do that. So I could break this up in 3 ways right now. Now I just put returns. Now I'm going to get rid of these returns. And what I might want to do is actually go here and do a space before. Now if you remember doing space before, you use the paragraph thing, and there's this little icon up here, space before. And then I'm going to do a space before down here as well. And I'm just counting 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like a 1/4 inch, and this one is about a 1/4 inch. And I could kind of do that. I might make my name bolder. It's in light right now, but I might go here to, instead of light, I might use that as like a bold, make that stand out. I might make my title a little smaller. I only have it 7.5, so I might just take it down to 7. Take it down a little bit, and then these I probably wouldn't want to change these at all, and I'm just going to take a look and see what it looks like. And again, we'd have to, I think I'd make my logo a little smaller right now, so I'll click in the middle here and take it down. It's like at 82. Maybe I'll take it down to like 80, or something like 78 might be okay. And I'll put it back here so I can see, and I'll move it over just a little bit and move it down, and that looks okay. I might want to center this up, and you know, this isn't centered, so I might want to move this just down a little bit, just so it kind of centers. And that's not a bad looking business card. Might even nudge this thing down a little bit so that everything is kind of centered. It's a nice looking business card. Has what I need: title, name, title, email address, office number, cell number, and then the address and the website at the bottom. Goes from more personal, more general. So, you know, you could set this up any way you want. One thing you want to do, like the envelope, is make a box. So click on the rectangle tool, take it down to 0.5, and make sure you go right on the corner. You're not using the margins. Some people, they start to draw it here. You don't want it here. You want it on the edge. So if you go in preview, it's kind of easier to see. And change the thickness of the stroke before you draw it, because if you change it after, it gets like offline or off center in some weird way. So I'm going to stretch that across. It should lock into the edge of the page, and that's my layout. That's my business card. So I'm going to save it, and this one I'll click on a last one I did, and I'll just call it BC for business card. And I have this, just so you know, I have it all saved in my folder. My stationery includes, there's temp files in here, but it has my envelope, my business card, my letterhead, and one EPS. I don't need an EPS for each file. It could use the same one. They all just link, and if you're sure that they're linking together, just go to your links and make sure there's no yield sign or question mark or anything like that. Everything should be okay. You might want to print it out just to see how your sizing looks, but if everything looks okay, then save it and put that whole folder, either zip it or just put the folder in your Dropbox, and you're done with your Angus stationery project.